This super compact XP farm can generate over 200,000 XP per hour, and in this video we will be diving into how this machine works, its features, how to set it up, as well as covering how you can make this machine for yourself. So without further ado, let's dive into the machine, starting with its main features. First, it includes some lag prevention systems, where the minecart contraption only activates when there is infested stone in the storage, reducing unnecessary lag in your game. Secondly, it has an overflow prevention system, which stops the machine if the vault's storage becomes close to full, ensuring that no resources are wasted. Third is the bulk processing, allowing the machine to handle large quantities of items at the same time, rather than only smelting and handling a stack at a time. Lastly, its design is extremely compact, following the strict Link series design rules I apply to all my machines, keeping it so that all builds can seamlessly link together. Since I've announced my Link series project earlier this year, I've been designing farms that are designed to be linked with each other, and this XP farm is no exception. It's built to work alongside other Link series creations, requiring an external source of rotational power and cobblestone input to function, which are not included in this machine. However, this isn't to say that you can't utilize one of your own cobblestone generators or rotational power generation methods to apply to this machine. Hence, the goal of Link series is to make all builds more compatible, not just my own. Now, I don't have time in this video to fully explain what Link series is, so if you'd like to learn more about it, you can check it out in the top right hand corner of your screen right now or in the video description. Now to break down how this machine works. To make things more clear, I'll be getting rid of the rotational power components for a moment so that we can see the functions of the machine. We will start with the input at the back, where the cobblestone is brought in via a packager and frog port from an overhead chain conveyor. The items are requested to the machine via a restocker located on the back side of the packager, set to maintain 4 stacks of cobblestone in the vault at all times. Once in the vault, the cobblestone is outputted via a brass funnel where it is dragged under an encased fan, pouring lava particles from a lava source above, smelting it into regular stone. This stone is then sent back into the vault. Next, the stone is directed to the other side of the machine, where it is placed under an encased fan, pulling haunted campfire particles into the items, transforming them into infested stone. The infested stone is then collected back into the vault and sent down to a depot beneath the vault via a smart chute. A mechanical arm takes the infested stone from the depot and deposits it to the 9 deployers. These deployers place the infested stone, which is then broken by a minecart contraption, which in turn spawns silverfish. These silverfish drop into the water underneath and are pushed to the side of the machine to be harvested for XP. The minecart contraption will only operate if there is infested stone in the vault, thanks to a threshold switch monitoring the storage. If there is no infested stone in the vault, the minecart contraption will not assemble, preventing lag. It also includes an overflow prevention via another threshold located here near the top of the machine, which checks for the amount of infested stone in the vault. If it exceeds 16 stacks, it locks the cobblestone output at the beginning of the assembly, halting the production of infested stone until the storage drops below the 16 stacks threshold. Additionally, there are 2 manual levels, one near the top of the machine that stops the infested stone production, and a level near the bottom of the machine which cuts off the smart chute, halting the supply of infested stone to the deployers, all of which is added in to allow you to manually control the machine as well. Now that we've broken down the functions of this machine and its features, it's time to dive into the build guide. However, if you'd rather download the schematic instead of building it by hand, you can find a link in the video description. If you're pasting in the schematic, you can find a setup guide after this build tutorial, if you wish to visually see how this machine is set up. Now then, here's the materials list for this build. If you're on an older version of Create before the post-production update, you can still follow along and just ignore the post-production items. For this build tutorial, I'll be leaving the materials list in the top right hand corner of your screen till it is over. To begin, we're going to be placing 6 vertical gearboxes, 3 in a line like this, and then 3 more in a line like this next to that. Then in front of these 2 pairs of gearboxes, we're going to be connecting them via 3 cogwheels. Next, take yourself a depot and place it in the middle of these vertical gearboxes and a block of your choice next to that depot right here. Now get yourself some copycat frames. We're first going to place 3, like so, and then we're going to be placing 3 right here on this side of the machine, and 3 more on the opposite side of the machine. Actually, we're going to be extending these 2 by 1 more block. Next, we're going to take a fluid pipe and run it in between these 2 copycat frames. Now take yourself some casings and case these cogwheels. For the next layer, we're first going to start out placing 2 blocks of your choice on top of these 2 cogwheels. Then get yourself a redstone link and place it on the side of this block. Make sure that it is a solid block and not a glass block. Then we're going to right-click this link with a wrench to make sure it receives signals. After placing down this link, apply stone to the 2 frequencies. Next, take yourself a smart chute and place it on this depot in the middle of the machine. Now get yourself 2 encased fans and place them on these 2 vertical gearboxes. Then place a lever on this smart chute. After placing a lever on the smart chute, take yourself a piece of infested stone and apply that to the filter of this smart chute. Now get yourself 4 shafts and place 2 here and 2 here. Then get yourself a rail and a cart assembler and place them on this block facing that direction, or this direction as well if you would like. Now get yourself some copycat panels and continue this wall that we are creating. Now come to the front side of this machine and place copycat frames above this copper pipe. For the third layer, we're first going to place 3 vaults like so in the middle of the machine. Now take yourself a threshold switch and place it above this cart assembler facing the vault. Once you have placed down the threshold switch, assign the top row to 1 item. Then apply a filter to the threshold switch to only read infested stone. After you have done that, take yourself 2 vertical gearboxes and place 1 on the side of this threshold switch facing that direction, and another one just like this, the one on that side. Then get 2 encased fans and place them on the end of these vertical gearboxes. Now take yourself 4 brass funnels and place 1 here facing that direction, another one here facing towards the vault, another one on the other side facing away from the vault, and another one facing towards the vault. Now take yourself a piece of cobblestone and assign it to this filter on the right side of the machine, and apply stone to this filter. Then come around to the other side and apply stone to this brass funnel here, and infested stone to this brass funnel here facing the vault. Now take yourself 9 cells and place them on top of this grinder area like so in a 3x3 pattern. Lastly, we're going to frame this up with copycat panels, and then we'll move on to the next layer. For the 4th layer, you're going to take 2 blocks of your choice, make sure they are solid, and place them above these 2 brass funnels. Now get yourself a soul campfire and place it above this funnel right here, facing it towards the vault. Then on the other side, you're going to take yourself a copycat panel and place it in front of this brass funnel in the open space, right like so. Now get yourself a packager and place it on this vault, and a factory gauge on the end of this packager. Then get yourself a threshold switch and place it above the vault, facing the vault like so. After placing it on the vault, open the GUI and set it to 16 stacks. Then assign the filter to infested stone. Now get yourself 4 shafts and place 2 on top of these vertical gearboxes, and then 2 shafts like this facing those other 2 shafts. Now take yourself a 5th shaft and place it in the middle of these 2 shafts facing one another. Now get yourself some copycat frames and continue the wall that we have been building. For the last layer, we're first going to start by placing a package frog port on this packager. Now take yourself 2 blocks of your choice and place it above the other 2 blocks of your choice. Now take yourself a vertical gearbox and place it on top of this shaft right here, and a cogwheel on top of the other shaft. Then take yourself 4 more shafts and place 2 shafts on the end of this vertical gearbox, and 2 shafts on the end of this cogwheel. Now take yourself a redstone link and place it on top of this threshold switch. Now get yourself some copycat panels and finish running the side of this wall. Make sure you don't fill in the middle part yet. Now get yourself 9 deployers and place them in a line like this, making sure that the rotations on the end are facing that direction. And then we're going to continue lining them up just like so. Now come to the end of these deployers and place down 3 cogwheels to connect them all. Now take yourself a andesite casing and start applying it to all of the cogwheels and shafts in the machine, except for this one in the middle, which we will leave alone. And I'm also going to leave a space here so that you can place the minecart down when you're ready to get the build up and running. Now take yourself a lever and place it on this block right here. And I almost forgot, but make sure you assign this link right here to the same frequency as the link that you have placed down here. So in my instance, I used infested stone, but you can use whatever block you want as long as these 2 links are connected. And for the very final step of this machine, we are going to be placing down the mechanical arm. But before we do that, make sure you place a block right here, and you'll see why in a minute. Now come around to your grinder area and break yourself a hole in it and break the cell as well so that you can be able to place down the mechanical arm when it becomes time to do it. But before we do that, we need to route it. So first, take items from this depot right here and come up to the top of the machine and set it to deposit items to all 9 of these deployers. Once you have assigned it to all 9 deployers, come down to the hole that we opened and place it on the block that we temporarily placed on top of the machine right here. Now you can fill back in the blocks that we broke and seal off the grinder area. And now you can also replace the temporary block that we placed up here. And just like that, the build is complete. So now we move on to the setup guide to get this thing operational. Now then, let's begin with the setup guide. Whether you have built it by hand or have pasted it in via a schematic, the setup process will be the exact same. First, let's begin with linking everything to your network. If you're making this on an older version of Create, just ignore this part. First, connect the frog port to your chain conveyor system. You can name it whatever you'd like. Secondly, link your factory gauge / restocker to your network and place it back down on its respective packager. Now assign the factory gauge / restocker to cobblestone and set it to maintain 4 stacks. You are welcome to adjust this number depending on the rotational power speed being applied to your machine. Now assign the restocker to root cobblestone to the overhead frog port using whatever name you have gave the frog port. Now that everything is linked to your network, let's set up the mechanical features. From this point on, the setup guide applies to both older and newer versions of Create. First, place a minecart on the cart assembler in the middle of the machine. Now, waterlog the copycat frames underneath the deployers. Next, place lava on the other side of the copycat frame above the encased fan on the side of the machine. Before we get the machine up and running, ensure the harvesting area is sealed off to prevent silverfish from escaping. If there is any opening, then, well, you're not going to have a great day to say the least. So, just make sure. Lastly, apply rotational power anywhere to the machine at any speed, making sure all the components spin in the right direction. Note that if you want to boost this farm from 90% to 95% efficiency to 100% efficiency, we'll lower the grinder area by 1 block. Additionally, if you'd like me to make a video on my fully automated version of this farm, which uses the Create Enchantment Industry mod, let me know in the comments below. As always, if you run into any issues with this build, please reach out to me on the Our Creation Discord, and also consider joining the Link Series project to find more builds like this one. Links for both will be in the video's description.